You know that feeling. When you're just ready for something new, maybe a different intellectual challenge, a change of scene research-wise, or just connecting with some new colleagues.
Yeah. Yeah, we definitely get that.
So today we're doing a deep dive into something really key for, academic growth, finding those visiting scholar and fellowship opportunities.
It's a big topic.
It is. And
Mm.
forget just endlessly scrolling, feeling overwhelmed. Our mission here is basically to pull out the most important bits, the strategies you need to get started effectively, open those doors, and, well, push your research forward.
Exactly. Think of this as your insider's guide. The landscape for these opportunities is just huge. And figuring out how to navigate it, that can feel like a whole research project by itself.
Right.
So our aim is to, streamline that a bit for you. Point out not just where you should be looking, but also how to think about your search strategically.
Okay, so before we jump into all the websites and databases, let's lay a little groundwork because it really all starts with having a clear picture of your own research, right? And where you want to take it.
Absolutely fundamental.
Like, what are the big questions buzzing in your field right now? Are you deep into, say, how social media is shaping politics, or maybe the latest in green energy tech, or maybe looking at evolving narratives in post-colonial lit?
Precisely. And it's not only about the research topic itself, you've got to think about your professional goals too. What is it you really hope to get out of a visiting scholar gig or a fellowship?
Good point. Is it about teaching?
Yeah, maybe you want to see different teaching styles, enhance your own skills. Or perhaps you have a very specific collaborative project brewing, and you need access to certain people or certain equipment.
Or maybe shitting the archives?
Exactly. Or maybe you just need that dedicated block of time to dive into some unique archival stuff. Understanding your personal why, that's going to sharpen your focus like nothing else.
Right. Okay. So let's say you've got a decent handle on your research focus, your goals. Now, where do you actually, start looking? The internet obviously is step one.
The obvious starting point, yeah.
Yeah.
Academic job boards, databases, directories. That's your initial hunting ground.
And lots of you probably already know academicjobs.com. It's still a really, really solid place to begin. You can use filters, right? Like visiting professor or postdoctoral fellowship.
Oh yeah, definitely use those filters. It helps cut through the noise. But don't just stop at one site.
No.
No way. The Chronicle of Higher Education, HigherEdJobs, these are also essential. They have a huge range of academic postings, including these kinds of roles. HigherJobs is particularly strong for jobs inside universities and colleges.
Okay, what else?
Then there's academic positions. That one's good for a broader, more international view, fellowships across different fields, different career stages.
Got it. And for people really deep in the research side, maybe STEM fields or humanities?
Right, for them, find a PhD and find a postdoc is definitely worth checking out. Now, their main thing is, well, PhDs and postdocs, obviously.
Sure.
But you'll often find research-focused fellowships and even some visiting roles listed there, too. And here's where we can get a bit more strategic.
Yeah.
Let's talk about making search engines work for you automatically.
Ah, saving time. I like it.
This is where you can really get ahead of the game. Think about Google Scholar Alerts. You can set up alerts for really specific keyword combinations,
Like what?
like visiting scholar fellowship, plus your specific field, maybe visiting scholar fellowship in environmental law, then boom,
Yeah.
relevant new stuff lands right in your inbox.
Nice.
And if you're casting your net towards Europe, Euraxess is just invaluable. Huge resource there. ScholarshipPortal also focuses heavily on European funding and academic jobs.
Okay. And humanities folks.
For humanities scholars, HNet is fantastic. It's more than just listings, it's a network. You'll find funding calls, specific visiting positions there, things that might not pop up on the bigger, more general job boards.
Okay, so the online world, definitely powerful. Loads of options. But what about, like, going straight to the source? Targeting specific universities or research centers directly?
Yes, that proactive approach can be incredibly effective. Think about the major research universities, the leaders in your field.
Yeah.
The Harvards, Stanfords, Oxfords, Cambridges,
Yeah.
the usual suspects.
Right.
But also don't forget the specialized research institutes. Places like the Institute for Advanced Study, or maybe the Woodrow Wilson Center. They often have dedicated programs specifically for visiting scholars.
And navigating their websites, they can be mazes. Where should you focus?
Good question. Look for sections usually called something like Faculty Affairs and Research.
Yeah.
That's often the hub for info on visiting scholar programs, applications, funding, the whole deal.
Okay, faculty affairs. What else?
Also, check out pages for graduate and postgraduate offices. Sometimes they handle these appointments too. And don't ignore university newsletters or event calendars.
Mm.
Opportunities sometimes get announced there first. And one more thing here. Sometimes postdoctoral research positions can actually offer a pretty similar experience to a visiting scholar role.
How so?
Well, especially if they involve some independent research or maybe even some teaching. A postdoc is usually more about research training, sure, but a visiting scholar might be more focused on independent work or collaboration. It's worth looking at both, depending on your goals.
That's a really helpful distinction. Okay, let's shift gears a bit. We've talked digital, we've talked institutional.
Yeah.
What about the human element, our networks, professional associations?
Oh, absolutely critical.
Yeah.
These connections can open doors to opportunities that never even get formally advertised. Think about the main professional organizations in your specific discipline.
Example.
Sure, like for humanities, you've got the American Council of Learned Societies, ACLS, or the Modern Language Association, the MLA. Political scientists have APSA, American Political Science Association. Engineers might look at IE, Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers.
And what do these organizations offer?
They frequently list fellowships, grants, visiting positions.
Yeah.
Check their newsletters, their websites. Definitely check the postings at their annual conferences.
Right, conferences. We'll come back to that. But first, what about online academic communities? LinkedIn, ResearchGate.
Yeah, don't underestimate those. ResearchGate is great for sharing papers, obviously. But people also post announcements there sometimes. LinkedIn is super valuable. Follow universities, research groups, departments you're interested in. Lots of places announce opportunities right on LinkedIn.
And academia.edu.
That too. Another place where people share work and sometimes info about fellowships or visiting roles pops up. Think of these platforms not just as places to broadcast your own stuff, but actively search for announcements and connect with people at institutions you're eyeing.
Makes sense. And now back to the maybe more traditional but still essential route, actually going to academic conferences.
Yes, conferences, especially the big ones run by your professional associations, are gold mines for networking. Well, many have physical bulletin boards, old school, I know, but still used for job and fellowship postings. Some even have specific sessions on careers or funding.
Yeah.
But honestly, the biggest value is connecting face-to-face,
Right.
talking directly with faculty, department heads, other researchers. They might know about visiting scholar spots coming up long before they hit any website.
So be ready to talk about your work.
Absolutely. Have
Yeah.
that concise elevator pitch ready. Be clear, be brief about your research interests. It makes those brief encounters much more productive.
Okay, great advice. So we've covered a lot of ground on where to look. Now let's talk about the money, funding sources. That's pretty crucial.
Vital piece of the puzzle. Absolutely. There are significant opportunities out there funded by both private foundations and government agencies. A classic example, the Fulbright program.
Ah, yes, Fulbright. Very prestigious.
Hugely prestigious. And it works both ways. U.S. scholars going abroad, international scholars coming to the U.S. What's really cool about Fulbright is how broad it is field-wise, and it really emphasizes that cultural exchange aspect too.
Okay. What about specific government research grants beyond Fulbright?
Right. If you're looking at Europe, the Marie Skłodowska-Curie actions are huge. They offer fellowships, grants for researchers at all sorts of career stages within the EU and even associated countries.
And elsewhere.
Germany has the Alexander von Humboldt Foundation, really well regarded, supports international researchers doing advanced work in Germany. Over in the UK, you've got the British Academy, mainly focused on humanities and social sciences.
Key thing here is probably checking eligibility, right?
Exactly. Pay super close attention to their specific criteria, their geographical focus. Make sure it's actually a good fit before you pour energy into applying.
Good point. And what about private money foundations?
Yeah, several big private foundations are major players. The Ford Foundation, for instance. They offer fellowships across social sciences, humanities, natural sciences, often with an eye toward promoting diversity or tackling social justice issues.
Okay.
Others, the Mellon Foundation's a big one, primarily supporting the humanities. They do a lot for early career scholars and projects pushing humanistic inquiry forward. And then there's the Wellcome Trust, huge funder for health-related research, which definitely includes visiting researchers and postdocs.
So when looking at foundations,
Check their history.
Hmm.
Look at what kinds of projects they've funded in the past. That gives you a really good sense of their current priorities.
okay, so we've talked about actively searching, digging around, but how do you make sure you don't miss something new that pops up? Staying informed seems key.
Absolutely. You need systems. Automation is your friend here. First step. Set up job alerts. on all those relevant job boards and databases we talked about. Set up alerts.
Customize them.
Definitely customize them. Use your keywords, locations. That way, you get notified pretty much as soon as something relevant gets posted.
Smart. What else keeps us in the loop?
Social media, actually. Follow the universities, the research centers, the professional associations you care about. LinkedIn, X, formerly Twitter, Facebook even. Lots of places announce new fellowships or visiting spots there, sometimes even before they hit the official job boards.
Newsletters, too.
Yep, subscribe to newsletters from departments, universities, organizations in your field. They often curate lists of opportunities, funding calls. It's like getting a pre-filtered list delivered to you.
And we mentioned Google Alerts earlier. Any tips for refining those?
Yeah, get specific. Don't just do Visiting Scholar. Try Visiting Scholar, plus your very specific subfield. Or combine it with an institution you're keen on, like postdoctoral fellowship, your discipline University of Oxford. The tighter your keywords, the better the quality of the alerts you get.
Okay, makes sense. So you've done the searching, set up alerts, you're plugged in. What about just reaching out, taking a more direct, proactive shot?
Yes, that could be a really effective strategy, especially if you've got your eye on specific labs, research groups, or individual faculty members.
So cold emailing.
Kind of, yeah. But do it thoughtfully. Identify faculty whose research really aligns closely with yours. Then craft a concise, well-written introductory email.
What goes in it?
Briefly outline your research interests. Definitely point out any potential overlap or synergy with their work. And then, inquire politely about the possibility of visiting scholar opportunities in their group or department. Keep it short, personalize it, and be really clear about what you could contribute.
Right, don't make it generic.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
And is it ever worth just sending a proposal, even if there's no advertised position?
Interesting question. Does that work?
Sometimes, yes. Some institutions or research centers actually have the flexibility to bring in visiting scholars based on a really compelling research proposal, especially if it fits well with what they're already doing or their strategic goals.
So if you have a killer project idea.
If you have a really well-developed, innovative project, it can be worth reaching out. Send a concise proposal research question, methods, expected outcomes, and clearly explain how your work would benefit their academic community. It's a long shot sometimes, but it can pay off.
Okay, so pulling it all together, it really sounds like finding these visiting scholar and fellowship opportunities isn't just one thing. It's multi-pronged.
Precisely. It's a strategic mix, isn't it? You need to be diligently searching those online resources, yes, but also proactively digging into university and research center websites.
And the network, yeah.
Leveraging your academic networks, your professional associations, absolutely. Understanding the funding landscape is key too. Setting up those systems, the alerts to stay informed. And then, yeah, sometimes taking that direct initiative to reach out, it's putting all those pieces together.
Well, this has been incredibly helpful, I think. A really solid roadmap for anyone out there looking to broaden their academic horizons.
That was the goal. To equip you with a whole toolkit, really. Strategies, not just a list of websites. Practical guidance for your search.
And just a specific pointer for those of you who might be looking specifically for lecturer positions within the USA. Definitely make sure you check out the listings over at academicjobs.com.
Good plug.
So maybe a final thought to leave everyone with.
Yeah, I'd say embrace this whole process as a journey of exploration. The potential payoff here in terms of intellectual growth, new collaborations, moving your career forward, it's really significant in this, dynamic world of academia. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there.